Guys, welcome back. It is Racer X, and today I'm actually in Hurst, Texas with my good buddies at the Hurst Autoplex. And as you guys have seen on my channel many times, they carry some awesome vehicles up here today. Well, I wanted to do something a little bit different today. I wanted to show you guys an SUV, but it's not just any SUV. It is one of the baddest SUVs on the planet, and it is from Audi. It is the RS Q8. It is basically just like a Lamborghini Urus, and I want to show you just how similar it is and how bad to the bone this vehicle really is. I'm really looking forward to it, guys. So anyway, if you are new to my channel, do me a giant favor, hit the subscribe button for me. I've got so much great content coming up. Also follow me on Instagram, and we are off. We got the 1,000 horsepower helmet. Check it out, guys. That is a bad mamma jamma. That is the ZR1 Corvette, C7, of course. And that actually is going to wrap her little baby. I think that's pretty darn cool. So that is his new ride. What a beautiful car. Let's get ready to go on a trailer and go ahead on over to wherever it is that he's having them deliver it to. But just kind of shows you the caliber of some of the cars they carry up here at Hurst Autoplex. So there it is, guys. It is the Audi RS Q8. And you know, when you first look at this thing from the outside, if you don't know what you're looking at, you wouldn't realize just how awesome this vehicle really is, because inside of this vehicle, it is absolutely beautiful. Tons of bells and whistles on this. A very powerful vehicle. Let me kind of go ahead and give you a little bit of a walk around. As you can see, the giant Continental tires and wheels that Audi makes, and just kind of step around this thing. Like I said, it doesn't really look like anything crazy. Now, when you get to the back side of this thing, it looks a little bit more business-like. You can see you've got the larger exhaust. Now, the exhaust is actually, it's actually not that large when you look inside there. That's just kind of the the shape of the exhaust there, as we've seen, and a lot of companies do that. But once you get back here, you start to look and think, well, you know what, maybe there's a little bit of aggression under the hood of this, and you would be absolutely right. So we'll go ahead and check out the interior of this, and then I want to tell you all about the performance. So now, when you look at the inside of the Audi RS Q8, you start to realize that this vehicle is pretty special. Yes, you do have beautiful seats, black, obviously, with the red stitching, which I am a huge fan of, as many of you guys know. Now, you do see the carbon weave kind of here. Even the gear selector in here is it's just different and very cool, very new age. Beautiful steering wheel, as you can see. I mean, it's high quality materials on this vehicle everywhere that you look. I can't wait to show you guys the dash and some of the things that this thing does here in the center area. But this is a very high-tech vehicle, very similar to the Lamborghini Urus, as I mentioned. This is Quattro. And let me show you actually the back seat here as well. I love all the carbon trim in this. And you can see the back place is actually quite a nice place to sit as well. Very comfortable. I actually just sat in here, so the seats are actually quite soft. You've got your nothing super crazy back here. You can see a couple really neat things here I'm going to show you here in a minute, but you can see you got your climate control and all that, but very comfortable place to sit. And of course, there's room in the back of this as well. It is a capable SUV. And so let's go ahead and show you what the dash looks like. So here is the seating position from inside the Audi RS Q8. You can see it actually looks pretty simple, but everything changes when you actually turn this vehicle on. Obviously, you do have a push start. There goes the steering wheel. This is a bad mamma jamma. Let me go and straighten this out so you can see everything that's going on here. Man, this thing measures all sorts of interesting things. This is a turbocharged engine. We'll get into that here momentarily, but check out this. Even the climate controls and all that kind of stuff. Everything in this thing is touchscreen. Even the gear selector here is a little bit different. As you can see, as I reach down, you want to go into park, you got it right there. But then, of course, if you want to move it into reverse, you just push it forward. And then, of course, as you go to move back, you can go into drive, which is pretty cool. Put it back in park. Of course, electronic parking brake here. Lots of really neat stuff here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and show you just how cool this is. Let's take a look at the home screen here. So check this out. So obviously, you've got your radio and move when you touch it. It is It's really, really cool. I actually really like the fuel gauge in this as well. When you look at that, there's a lot of neat ways you can configure the digital dash in this. It does a lot of different things. So kind of whatever look you like, you can sort of configure it that way. I know you guys can see my reflection there, but anyway, you can go to your heated and cooled seats, which is a very cool feature, obviously this time of year. And check it out. You can actually set up where you want to heat these things, which is pretty darn cool. We'll go back, and then of course you've also got your favorites area. Lots of different uses for this central screen here. You can of course use your phone. The nav works quite well in this thing as well. But really quick, check it out. This is actually where you can select your drive modes from. I mean, there's so much you can do from this center area here. But as I go to select the drive modes, I'm actually going to show you. I'm just going to push up on that little button right there, and I'm going to show you what actually happens here. So we can go from you can see we're just in regular auto. We can go to comfort. We can also go to all road, and then of course we can jump up to off-roading, which it's pretty cool from a luxury SUV. And then of course we can go to dynamic as well, and you can see the stabilization control on, and then of course back to off. This backup camera, oh my gosh, this thing is beautiful. Look at that, man. I am impressed. So now that I've had an opportunity to show you just how cool the inside of this is, and keep in mind, I'm not showing you all of just every single little thing about this vehicle, but really, you know, with me, I'm all about the performance. And you look underneath the hood of this, but that is actually a 4-liter twin turbocharged V8 that actually puts out 591 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque. It is a monster under this thing. And get this, it basically goes 190 mile an hour top speed, 3.7, 0 to 60. So, you know, this thing is really a beautiful blend between German engineering and a lot of the cool stuff the Italians do with the Urus. So this is really the blend of that. So if you love like the German cars in terms of their quality, their craftsmanship, all of that kind of stuff, it has it. If you want the performance of the Lamborghini, it has that too. So I would almost argue that this might be more desirable than the Lamborghini Urus. And everybody knows just how cool that thing is. Now, you guys know me, I'm a big performance guy, so I love to do performance vehicles, especially ones like this, because this thing is a little bit of a sleeper. And as I just mentioned a few minutes ago, this has Quattro. That is Audi's all-wheel drive, very sophisticated system. And so this particular vehicle really puts the power down well. So yes, these are 22-inch wheels that you get directly from Audi. It's kind of hard to get a gauge of just how big those things are with just kind of me standing here, because the vehicle, it's a little deceiving, but those wheels are huge. This also comes with a 17 speaker sound system. I mean, the bells and whistles just never stop coming with this. Now, I will say the sticker price of one of these base price is somewhere around like $117,000. So obviously it is not the cheapest thing in the world, but when you compare it to say the Urus, which I feel like this compares nicely to, it is actually a bargain. It's a lot of vehicles. So now I'm actually aboard the Audi RS Q8. And yes, this is really kind of the bad daddy of sort of that Q8 model, and it just feels so luxurious to sit in here. What a neat blend of performance, technology, and luxury that they came up with here. And that's, you know, Audi's kind of known for that. Some of their other cars are kind of, you know, their S cars and all that, they're sleepers. But I mean, I love the panoramic moonroof that this offers, all of the digital dash here. I mean, just everything going on in here looks very, very cool. I can't wait to see how this thing performs on the road. So now I'm actually getting to drive around the RS Q8. I have to admit, the ride on this thing, this is amazing. This thing rides, it is so quiet in here. It's almost eerie how quiet it is inside this as I ride. It is unbelievably smooth, and you would never be able to tell that I've got almost 600 horses on tap. I do want to kind of just cover this because I know people are going to ask, yes, you know, it's not a Lamborghini Urus, but I mean, there are a lot of similarities. And when you talk about the power plant in this, it's about a 50 horsepower difference between the Urus and this. 641 horsepower is what the Urus makes. This one's 591. But honestly, I don't think you'd be able to tell a huge difference when it comes to power. I'm just amazed at how smooth this thing runs. And here's the big thing. This thing from a base price is over $100,000 less than the Lamborghini, and you still get all of this beautiful German engineering. So I'm actually coming off of a stoplight here, and here we go. My goodness gracious. I'm sorry guys, this thing, the power in this comes on very smooth, but it's a wave. It's like a big surge of power in this, and it does not feel light on power. Now, when you drive something like an SRT Durango or something along that line, you do feel the power in that. But I have to say, something like this, it just feels so much more refined. And yes, it's a lot more expensive, but you can feel it. And when you drive it, it just feels like a very buttoned down, very well mannered vehicle. And then you go to step on it and just, here we go. It's so smooth. Oh my gosh, that wave of power. It's just intoxicating. The turbos come on just so smooth, and it just starts to just pull. And man, what a fantastic driving vehicle. I really like this thing. So it'll be really interesting to see how this compares to, say, the Durango Hellcat when those start becoming kind of readily available, because as we know, that's going to have more horsepower, 710, versus this one that's just shy of 600. But the way those two cars is going to make, they make power, it's going to be completely different. This one kind of comes on, it's nice and smooth, and then a wave of torque hits you. And it's just great. But from a refinement perspective, this one is going to win hands down. So when the owner of Hurst Autoplex said, Racer X, come out, you've got to check out this Audi RS Q8, I have to freely admit that one was not on my radar. Yes, I've heard about them, and there's some cool factor that surrounded the vehicle, but I mean, they look a little bit understated from the outside. But when you get to drive one, you start to realize just how cool this vehicle really is. I mean, man, what a neat place to sit. I could literally drive this thing all day. And then when you want it to put a big smile on your face, all you got to do is lean into that gas pedal. Here we go. Oh, gee, here it comes. Oh my goodness gracious. This thing, it just rolls out. And I mean, really, this thing has more power than a GTR does. And you would never be able to tell by just cruising around at low speed. I mean, it is so chill and such a nice car to drive. And it goes all Jekyll and Hyde on you when you start laying into that throttle, because those turbos come on, and then here comes the power. So what are my final thoughts on the Audi RS Q8? Well, I'm a huge fan, guys. I realize, yeah, I mean, it is a pretty expensive vehicle. This one completely loaded down is about 150 grand. But as I mentioned before, you're at over 100,000 less than a Lamborghini Urus. And I think this one is right there in the ballpark. I mean, it is extremely luxurious. It is extremely powerful. They set records with this car back in like 2019 when they were showing all the magazines, everything that this thing would do. And I mean, just from a fit, finish, functionality, a luxury perspective, I mean, this thing has all of it. So when you look at how it compares to everything else that is out there, Range Rovers, all that luxury SUV, that entire segment, this thing is world class. It really is. So if you can swing the sticker price for an RS Q8, this vehicle will make you very, very happy, because it is legit. Well, and that about does it for my review of the Audi RS Q8. Now, I will admit that when I talked to the guys up here at Hurst Autoplex, they said, listen, Racer X, we've got this Audi RS Q8. You got to come up here. You got to check it out. We promise you, you will be impressed by this thing. I honestly wasn't thinking that I would be, but I came up, I checked it out, and I am really, really glad that I did, because if I'm being honest, I'm actually very impressed by this. If you want to talk about the ultimate daily, if you could swing the price tag for this, it just doesn't get any better. It is a very unique blend of German engineering, Italian performance, just luxury. I mean, pretty much everything you could want in a vehicle, this thing will do. Maybe not fuel economy, but if you can afford that, you're probably not quite so worried about fuel economy, but you get pretty much everything in this package. So a huge shout out to my guys up here at the Hurst Autoplex for letting me come and check out this beautiful Audi. And guys, that's it. Let me know what you think about it in the comments down below, and I will catch you on the next one. So until then, Racer X.